So what kind of sparked this today is I saw a reel on Instagram, and in the reel there was a girl and she was showing like how she went from Islam to Christianity. So in the reel she shows her as a Muslim, and she's like wearing a full like jilbab with a hijab on, she's on a prayer mat, and she's crying on the prayer mat. And then all of a sudden she cuts to her in like a crop top with like a Starbucks with like a cap on and like all this makeup, saying, "Me as a Christian." Now, I'm not commenting on the difference between Islam and Christianity here, because this is not the case, right? What I'm commenting on is this kind of modern notion that Islam is oppressive, and then if you leave Islam, then you're finally free. And I really want to flip this on its head, because this reel kind of deeply disturbed me, because this is a very common like misconception. A lot of people do this. A lot of people say, "Oh, look at me as an ex-Muslim. I'm wearing like these oppressive clothes, and look at me now that I'm free." And they'll always show, if it's a woman especially, they'll always show themselves with like all this makeup and like little clothes, saying, "Look how free I am." The truth is, they are more free. You didn't think I'd say that, right? They are more free, but they're more free in their version of freedom. Their version of freedom, the freedom that the West promotes, is you are free if you are able to follow your desires. If you're free to follow your desires, then you are free, you have freedom. But the Islamic notion is very different. The Islamic notion of freedom is you are free if you are free from your desires. You see the difference? The Western notion, you are free to act out your desires, to have your desires and act them out and do what you want. The Islamic notion, you are free when you are free from your desires. So our desires come from our lowly place, like the nafs in the Islamic worldview. The nafs, if we can tame it, we can actually start to be free, we can start to achieve. Our desires hold us down. Let's take a worldly example that's really easy to understand. Imagine you're trying to lose weight, right? Your desires say, "I want to eat this cake, I want to eat this chocolate." But your aql, your brain says, "No, I need to restrict what I'm eating because I'm trying to lose weight." Right? It's a really relatable example. The truth is, being free from your desires is a superpower. It's an actual superpower. Imagine if every time that you had work to do, you were able to stop yourself procrastinating. Every time that you wanted to achieve something, you just went and did it, no matter how you're thinking or feeling. It's an actual superpower. And the reason why this is more freeing is because our desires weigh us down, they're suffering. When we are free from our desires, we can actually be the people we want to be, and we can worship God the way we're supposed to worship God. Allah says in the Quran, "Have you not seen those who take their desires as their God?" Isn't this today's world? Isn't this the world that we live in today? Everyone is taking their desires as their God. If I think it, if I feel it, therefore it is, therefore it's the truth. Somebody actually left a comment under that reel saying, "Oh, now that you're free," this is a serious comment by the way, this is not satire, "but now that you're free, go out there, live your life, have fun, open an OnlyFans account." Like, what kind of messaging is this for women? This is absolutely crazy. It's just enslaving women. So we have this illusion of freedom, but really we're always a slave to something. What do you want to be a slave to? Do you want to be a slave to the one that created you, that sent down a manual that actually knows what's good for you and what's going to help you live? What's going to help you find satisfaction and happiness in your life? Not what the modern world tells you is going to find happiness and satisfaction, because I guarantee it never will. The marketing companies, they spend billions and billions of pounds to convince you that there's something wrong with you. There's always this new thing. Oh look, all of a sudden, everything's about lips, right? Okay, my lips are not big enough. Let's buy this to make my lips bigger. This will make my lips bigger. All these different products to make your lips bigger. They are constantly making up things about you to make you feel like you're not good enough, so you buy their product. And it's all about desires. They're driving our desires through the roof, because the more we desire, the more we buy, the more we consume. They want us to be these desiring creatures, suffering in our desires. In the Quran, there's an ayat that Allah talked about how, is it not better to have one master, or to have quarreling masters that are quarrelsome? This is what the modern world is. It's quarrelsome masters. They're all pulling you in different directions. They're physically pulling at you all the time in all these different places. Oh, I need to be more beautiful. I need to have more money. I need to be fitter. I need to be this. I need to be that. It's constant. They're pulling you in different directions. And you know, this really reminded me of the story of Bani Israel in the Quran. So in Surah Baqarah, Allah talks about how Bani Israel, you know their story, they were saved. They had miracles performed in front of their eyes. Musa split the sea from the will of Allah. They were given, when they were free, they were living a terrible, horrible life. They were actual physical slaves to horrible masters. back in Egypt. They were treated like second-class citizens. They were worked long days. Their children were murdered. The children were killed in front of them. And they were saved from that. They were saved with miracles. So imagine the miracles that came. And then one of the miracles they had is when they were going through the forest, they were sent heavenly food from the sky, man and salwa. Heavenly food. Allah gave them heavenly food, and you know what happened? They started complaining about that food. They said, we don't like having the same food every day. We want onions, garlic, lentils, cucumbers. They gave a shopping list. The reason why I'm saying this is because these foods that they named, these were the foods that were very typical for a slave back in Egypt. So these were the foods that they were eating when they were enslaved. This is how I'm connecting it back to the reel of the girl, the girl who left her oppression and became free. She traded being a slave to Allah to being a slave to society and likes on Instagram. The Beni Israel traded being a slave to Allah, having heavenly food sent from the sky, to wanting to be a slave back with the Egyptians, being tortured. They wanted to have the food they had then. It's like coming out of prison and being like, you know what, I really miss the prison food. Like, that was so nice. That is literally what they're doing. They are trading what's better, the heavenly food, the relationship with God, for what? For oppression, for what they knew, for being slaves to society. And this is exactly how I'm linking it back to the reel. It's a subtle shift. In the beginning of the reel, she was standing before the one most high, the one most loving. And at the end of her reel, she was standing before the one most judgmental, society. You're never going to please them. They're the quarrelsome masters Allah talks about in the Quran.